Xiaomi and LTPO have shifted from collab to symbiosis. How does this Xiaomi 17 Ultra, launched nearly a full quarter early, perform? Can it become a handy tool for many photography fans, replacing some pocket cameras? Let's compare the new Xiaomi 17 Ultra now. Of looks, it doesn't carry the strong camera style vibe of earlier models. This Xiaomi 17 Ultra feels more like a plain standard looking phone. The back panel is quite clean, and the camera unit is slightly smaller, as tested with stock film on. The body is just 8.3mm thick, 1.2mm thinner than the Xiaomi 15 Ultra quite a cut. Its thickness matches this year's Pro models from other brands, and it doesn't feel as hefty as past Ultra flagship phones. Lens bump sticks are some 6mm. The device supports IP66, IP68, and IP69K water resistance with a matte metal frame. Compared to past Xiaomi models, this one features a rare change the single-piece power and volume buttons. Now split-style buttons shifted up with better press feedback. This model features flat front and back panels, a glass fiber backplate with larger R corners for a more cohesive look. With a film on, it weighs 226 grams lighter than the previous Ultra models, and similar to this year's Pro variants from other brands. Feel-wise then, the bezels, it has curved edges, though the body is still wider, bulkier. Big flagship, compared to the base model, grip feels a bit worse, though this year the weight and thickness have dropped notably. Xiaomi's top-tier imaging phones since the 12 Ultra joined forces with the LTPO have gained fame fast with their German-style shots. The LTPO look has carried through these models and still grabs attention at first glance. For imaging, the Xiaomi 17 Ultra switches from 4 to 3 rear cameras this time. So some folks might wonder here, why has one lens been cut from the camera setup? No. Don't panic, Xiaomi's aim is to have more lens options. How did they do it? Let's take a look now. This is the upgraded 200MP LTPO APO Ultra large telephoto lens. This telephoto lens covers all optical focal lengths from 75mm to 100mm, not digital cropping. From the shoot mode, you can see, clicking the 3.2 times 75mm zoom tier brings up 3.7 times 85mm and 3.9 times 90mm options, and 4.3 times 100mm. 4 commonly used golden focal lengths are listed by Xiaomi, and all 4 are achieved via optical zoom using the rear telephoto lens. Of course, it's not just these 4 golden focal lengths. Any between 75mm and 100mm is optical direct. And all support 200MP resolution, not the old digital cropping. If we zoom in, the fine details still show no smudged artifacts. Note that this focal length uses internal light paths and structural shifts to enable smooth, uncropped optical zoom within the range. For better clarity, let's use video zoom and slide from 70mm to 100mm. Watch closely as this happens. The Xiaomi 17 Ultra doesn't need lens swaps back and forth, all while keeping image sharpness intact. The entire zoom process is far smoother this time compared to before, when multiple lenses had to be swapped. And don't fixate on 200MP, it sounds flashy, but the default output still matches others at 12.5MP to ease the load. Compared to 50MP and 200MP, you can see the detail differences when zoomed in. So when shooting in real life, you can tweak the pixel count based on light and scene. If it's a key shot, we use 200MP. How does the image quality compare? We gathered top-tier flagship phones from all brands, including Apple, Samsung, Vivo, and Xiaomi's previous top-tier 15 Ultra model, for comparisons across focal lengths and with 200MP at matching zooms. First up is the Vivo X200 Ultra. The two have quite distinct imaging styles, each with pros and cons. Xiaomi's images are a bit clearer, though the contrast between light and dark isn't as sharp as with Vivo, and sharpness is slightly better here. Next, we compare Xiaomi's own 15 Ultra model. In this segment, we compare digital cropping with the new optical zoom at 3.2x 75mm focal length. This larger sensor boost brings richer and more ample image exposure. Let's switch scenes now and move to the 85mm focal length. Compared to Xiaomi 15 Ultra's digital cropping, the large sensor's edge is still quite clear. In terms of detail, text edges are sharper now. Then at 90mm, the 17 Ultra shows clearer brick textures. The clarity gap between this and prior digital cropping is clear. Last is the 4.3x 100mm Tele-N. The previous Xiaomi 15 Ultra used its fourth optical lens here, while the Xiaomi 17 Ultra still uses the same telephoto lens we see here. This time, the white balance feels more accurate. Now, no red tint in the wall tile areas. But if you look closely, the 17 Ultra doesn't shine quite as bright after all. The 15 Ultra's tele lens we discussed had truly impressive specs. Now let's switch to night scenes. This shows how bigger sensors just outperform. Xiaomi 17 Ultra has pitch black skies indeed. Zoom in on the eaves. This model is clearly better than the prior one and rivals with stark differences. 100mm teleshots, Apple and Samsung both show visible noise in these. Xiaomi's two Ultra models, with Xiaomi 15 Ultra featuring the fourth telephoto lens, which has a wider aperture than the 17 Ultra. This time, the 17 Ultra shows rather lackluster shadow textures. Besides capturing distant scenes, this telephoto lens also supports 30cm macro shots. We will keep comparing with rival samples. With the 85mm portrait focal length, whose results do you prefer? I might prefer VI-View Smooth here with richer light and shadow textures on the face. Switch to another scene, including skin tone rendering. To sum up, this telephoto lens delivers superb straight-out-of-camera shots at the preset 75mm, 85mm, and 90mm focal lengths. At the farthest 100mm focal length, and in some portrait scenes, there's still room for improvement. Seeing the boosted telephoto end. Next, the main cam still Ultra's 1-inch sensor, the new Light Hunter 1050L, and features LOFIC hypersensing tech. Dynamic range is notably better than before. In this test, compared to Apple, Xiaomi shows better dynamic range, no overexposure on the far side of the archway. So this time, Xiaomi's main cam excels in high-contrast scenes, like concerts, fireworks, flares, and tunnels, where it performs better. Dynamic range. Compared to rivals, Xiaomi's overall look feels quite pleasant. It captures warm fire hues with clear shadow and highlight separation. Looking at complex lighting scenes, the two 1-inch Xiaomi Ultra models are quite similar in sharpness, though they differ in highlights control. For neon signs, the 15 Ultra from before still shows overexposure. The ultra-wide lens still uses JN5 sensors. 40mm focal length, not the 70mm from Mi17 series. With the Mi17 series, the wide-angle field felt a bit narrow, 14mm is wider. Check the edge sharpness now. The Xiaomi 17 Ultra, in my view, is one of the better ones among these. Though it shares the Xiaomi 15 Ultra's hardware, the software algorithms have improved greatly this time. Now let's look at the video part. We'll compare it directly with Apple. Which size footage do you prefer? Please vote with 1 or 2. Now let's share the overall impressions. The video quality is now quite on par indeed. But in low light settings, like capturing lights, fireworks, or videos with ultra-high dynamic range, this main cam shines even more. For video stabilization, we often criticized it before, but Xiaomi has made major improvements this year. In past tests of Xiaomi flagships, once ultra stabilization was turned on, it would drop to 1080p at 30 fps once OIS was on specs would fall sharply. This time, Xiaomi added a 2.8K 60 fps ultra stabilization mode matching top global brands, so we still compare it directly with Apple. Saying blind guess, pick 1 or 2. Which side is Xiaomi? I think video stabilization is key. Having covered key imaging specs, let's see if the OS has new features. First, Super Xiao AI Smart Photo Edit. Just summon Xiao AI in the Photos app, and you can edit via voice, simple and intuitive. Let's focus on ecosystem connectivity upgrades. Message passing between two devices is similar across brands, but cross-device replies differ quite a bit. Right now, folks just get alerts via notifications and can't reply across devices with another. Xiaomi rolled out major update apps like WeChat, QQ, and Feishu now let you reply on your iPhone to messages received on your Xiaomi phone. So if your other phone gets a message, you don't need to pull it out. Just reply using this one. That's indeed quite convenient, though some might say. You support just 3 apps right now, still quite limited. But now Xiaomi has a big reveal. You can control the Xiaomi phone screen right from your iPhone. The process is simple. On the same local network, tap my Share desktop to show your Xiaomi phone screen on an Apple iPhone. The latency is quite well controlled. The bitrate isn't high, but it runs at 60 fps. Real-world uses include mirrored ride scanning or remote photo taking from afar. Also, Xiaomi and iPhone support two-way location tracking and touch to transfer file sharing. Your next Xiaomi phone, why iPhone only? And if you own 2 Xiaomi phones, that is dual phone users, then all the cross-device transfers and cross-device message replies work seamlessly as well. And it also lets two phones mirror each other's screens. Just swipe down to open screen combo. If Xiaomi AD's cross-device call pickup later, that will be perfect. For now, calls still come as notification alerts. For the displays, the Xiaomi 17 Ultra and 17 Pro Max share identical specs, though it lacks a 2K screen, a bit of a letdown. We're showing the dark variant, its bezels look a bit wider here. 6.9-inch screen, 2608 by 1200 resolution, 120Hz refresh rate, 420 ppi, and it supports Xiaomi Super Pixel feature. Check the actual brightness. Full screen max hits 677 nits, and under bright light peaks near 1200 nits. It seems quite average now, perhaps due to the beta firmware. Once it hits shelves, we'll update the stats again. For the color display results, we'll compare with iPhone. Feel free to see which one you prefer. Screen eye care 17-inch supports full screen DC dimming by default. Settings include a Pro mode for adaptive refresh. Once enabled, it switches to 2160Hz high frequency PWM dimming to suit diverse eye care needs. The Ultra specs are top tier, no need to elaborate. Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 paired with LPDDR5X and UFS 4.1. Quick look at the scores: Geekbench 6 single core 3765, solid multi-core 11062, top tier flagship. In the GPU 3D Mark tests, this year's Snapdragon chips lag behind the Dimensity model. And within the Snapdragon line, Xiaomi 17 Ultra performs well. Low load Honor Kings runs smoothly with no lag. 1% low frame rate hits 107.8. After 30 minutes of gaming, both front and back temps hit 40 degrees Celsius with total power draw at just 3 watts. Genshin Impact Ultra HD 60 FPS for 30 minutes. Average FPS near max, 1% low FPS at 55.3. Render resolution of 1920 by 883. Key thermostats: front peak at 43.8 degrees Celsius, back at 43.2 degrees Celsius. Heat clusters mainly under the camera side of the device. Total power draw 4.5 watt. A fairly aggressive thermal tune. Final HSR run. Top tier 60 FPS for 30 minutes. Average FPS 59.6 front and back temps stayed below 45 degrees Celsius total. Power draw 5.42 watt. As an Ultra model, it focuses mainly on imaging specs. In my view, it isn't ideal for long gaming sessions held in hand, given its large camera module. Of course, if you must play, it can handle all major games just fine, though there's still room to optimize its power consumption. Xiaomi 17 Ultra comes with a 6800 mAh Jinsha River battery. It adds 800 mAh over the prior model and uses 16% high silicon tech. In daily use, we browsed web, recorded, watched video, and played high-load games for 30 minutes each. 67% battery remain. Compared to last year's Ultra model, this battery life boost is quite noticeable. But as a top-tier imaging flagship, much internal space is reserved for the lens module, so battery size falls short of the Pro variant. The phone supports 90-watt wired and 50-watt wireless power-up with a 100-watt charger included in the box. The wire charging supports 90-watt PBS universal specs, which should cover most third-party power-up adapters, a solid plus. From 1% to 100% in 1 hour, trickle power-up fully done in 1 hour 5 minutes. Peak power-up reached 75 watt. The Xiaomi 17 Ultra sees key upgrades in imaging: enhanced dynamic range and a 200MP main sensor with zoom capabilities. The mid to tele lens now features optical zoom within the focal range. Using it, we didn't feel like one lens was missing at first glance. The look of it is closer to a standard run-of-the-mill flagship phone we commonly see on shelves. More camera-centric designs are reserved for the special edition. This does involve trade-offs, for if all were like the special edition, pricing based on cameras would surely spiral out of control. If you're into the special edition, don't forget to follow our channel. We'll soon share the Xiaomi camera experience of that model.